Hi everybody, this is Dark Soul. Thanks for checking out my video here. I wanted to show off a new game I've been working on called Blockitect. It's sort of a building game. Yeah, you can see the blocks here. It has actual real world physics, I guess, or simulation of physics anyway. But the basic idea is, you can build whatever you want with the blocks that I give you here. These are real actual blocks in the real world. You can buy these. They've been around for ages. They're called anchor stone. These wood ones you can see over here, this is actually just a few, more of a sampling, I guess. There's quite a few more to be added, but these are called treehouse blocks. I actually like these a lot. I've built quite a few things with those. These kind here, I don't actually own any, but they're pretty amazing, and inspired me really to work on this game to begin with once I knew about them. But yeah, anyway, you can see I'm just kind of messing around at the moment, but I want to give you a demo here. There's a download available. It's free for anybody to try it out if you have a PC or a Mac. I have the links in the description. So yeah, I'm just going to show you just basically here. Let me restart. I do that by hitting the home key. Anytime you want to start over, you make a big mess, you just want to start over, you just hit the home key, you get a fresh reset of the level of the scene. So first thing I want to show you, if you notice here when I'm pointing at a block, my mouse kind of goes over it. You see a number. That number is an identifier. These blocks, there's a catalog. This helps, I guess, if you're going to build something from instructions. If you need to identify what size, some of them can look similar. So here you can see like a basic cube is just a number 1. This one is a little longer and has a 3. So basically, yeah, that's the identifier. Tells you what the block is. Could be useful. But mostly it's just helpful when you can tell when you have a number that you can grab that block. So I do that by clicking my mouse, left click. And once I do that, I can pick it up, move it around, set it back down by clicking again. Or if you'll notice, and this is pretty much an essential feature, if I kind of push it up against another block, like so, I can turn that block, the block I have in my hand, sort of, kind of. Yeah, so I can turn it, orient it in a different way. That's pretty much important if you want to build anything, to be able to put the block the way you need to for what you're doing. So yeah, so this one, like, I want to make it flat. I just kind of use my mouse and guide it into position there and set it down like so. In doing that, you'll notice I didn't really get it too accurate, so I can sort of pick it up again, move it again, kind of turn it a little bit more, but that can be a little bit time consuming and tedious. So I've got a few more sort of aids to help you here. So yeah, so I can move around. First person controls, WASD, probably familiar with that. Use the mouse to move. But in addition, right around the WASD keys, I also have Q and E mapped to rotation. And that allows me to get a little bit better alignment on my blocks. If I'm really trying to be precise, as you can see here, I can just make small changes and make it more lined up with the other blocks. It can still be a little tricky to judge, but that's a control you have. You're going to need that if you want to build anything more advanced. In addition to rotation here with Q and E, right below on Z and X, I also have a pull and push function. Let's pull is Z and push is X. That can also be pretty handy. Trying to get it just in the right position without having to move yourself, or if you're trying to place something up high. Oops. So yeah, if I want to get up on a high spot, I can push it up there, let go, and it'll stay there. Okay. So that's that. Now, you might notice sometimes here as I'm moving pretty quickly. Here I'm just walking, and if I hold another key down, shift, I'm actually barely moving. Kind of see it like that. Those are the three sort of speed controls that you have, and you're going to need that to get around quickly. Hold down right mouse button as you do, and just move around as normal. This affects everything. It affects your jump height with space bar, jump higher with that. It affects your actual interaction with a block when you bump into it. So for example, if I'm walking and I just push up against that block, nothing, I can't move it. It's completely oblivious. Now if I'm holding down the right mouse button and I do that, I'm actually able to kind of push on it. Not having a great effect because those blocks are stacked up like that, but if I have something sort of standing around, see, I'm able to knock that over. That's something you want to be aware of. You might like that for kind of messing around, maybe just trying to cause some damage, but anyway, it's something to be aware of. The other speed you have, which is actually more for building, is the SlowMo or fine control. What that's going to do is going to make the mouse more accurate, all your movements, and as long as you're holding shift down, you'll move more slowly, and even your rotation and your push-pull are affected, and that goes for the run as well. If I'm holding run right mouse button and I have a much faster rotation, and push-pull is very quick. Oh, and also I forgot this, I also have push-pull mapped to the scroll wheel on the mouse. It's a little more fine, kind of goes in increments as you can see, and that's also affected by the speed control setting that you're using. But anyway, those are important concepts, I guess, or controls to master if you're going to build anything or you want to get around in the level. Something else too, just quick, I'll show you. Pretty simple, obvious, but you will step up onto blocks of a certain height, which is nice if you're wanting to build something with like staircase or something like that. You don't have to jump all the time. Obviously, if it's higher, then you can't. So that's something to be aware of. Okay, so yeah, the basics. Rotation. Now you can only rotate it in that direction, and that's the only purpose for that is just for getting your blocks lined up. If you want to do any more kind of rotation of the block, you've got to do that more or less organically here. I've got to use the environment and the block and my movement to kind of move that. Now, it is possible to kind of knock it's not real easy, but you can actually affect the other blocks in the scene. So you got to be a little bit careful. I'm able to kind of punch it around like that. You gotta be a little aware of that. As your stack gets more tall, it can be easier to knock it over too. So, but it is light. It's light. It's able to move without influencing the other block as much. That's important. That's intended. So that lets me to kind of bring that block up above and sort of push downward on it, and it flattens out if you notice that. And that's safer to do that, make sure your block is nice and leveled off, than to place it at a weird angle and then just kind of drop it, because if you do that, you're playing with fire. You get knocked over pretty easy. You know, eventually your stack gets pretty tall and you just go around dropping your block like so, you might knock it over. So yeah, use that. That's an important skill to have for building. Alright, so yeah, I'll just kind of show you. Now I can pick the block up. I can also throw it. This isn't for building really, unless it's just to get something out of your way, but if you want to do that, you want to mess around, just play with the physics. While you're grabbing the block, all you have to do is hit the F key. That's going to give you some forward motion. If you're moving and you hit F, it actually will also impact the speed. So here I'm moving backwards and I throw it, it just about drops it. But if I'm moving forward running, I'm going to throw it with quite a lot of force. So that's something, trying to make a mess, just keep that in mind. You can go with that. Also, another fun thing is using especially the speed, the running push-pull function. Yeah, see how when it impacts, it seems to have a lot of force. It can just about explode. I like to push them right along the bottom. Just kind of makes a mess. Sends them flying. That's pretty awesome. You can only pick them up from a certain distance. If you notice, the cursor changes, the number changes when I'm at just out of range, but I can push it way out there, like really far. I let go and it's bang. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, so I made a mess here, right? And it's kind of hard to build with anything now, so I'm going to get that back. I'll hit home again. That's going to reset it. Everything's back to the way it was before I started messing around. Okay, now, as I mentioned, you're able to build stuff. What do you want to build? Well, you can just build anything, but I give you some instructions here. If you want to play with those, hit tab. These are the actual instructions that are provided with the anchor stone blocks. Tab's going to bring it up. It's going to put it away. Toggles with that. Once you have it up, the arrow keys, left, right arrow keys, will let you page through up to, and this has got 16 pages. And all these is instructions for how to build layer by layer the little buildings and walls and decorative things that you see in here. Now most of these, or not all of them, but some of these are already built here, just to give you a sample. So like that one is in here somewhere. Yeah, there it is right there. That's actually a front and back view on that particular one, but as you can see at the bottom, that's each of the layers. From left to right, all the way from bottom to top. So you can follow along and those give you something to build with. Each of those is only going to take the blocks from this grouping here, this first sort of rectangular formation here. And this is actually these sort of configurations, what they call the packing plan or packing configuration that comes. So if you were to order these, they're going to come in a wood box. You open that up and they're going to be just like this. This is how they're sort of configured into the box, so it fits nice and cool and tight, and it really looks cool. But anyway, everything here can be built with this one. This is set number 6. It's pretty much the starting one. This is 6A. There is one model. It's in here. Let me show it to you. It's the very last page. Not really a fast way to get to the end. I should change that, but anyway, the very last one is a bigger structure than the rest, and it actually does require the blocks that are in both of these to build it. And if you notice, there's no instruction, there's no layers in this one. I'm not sure why, and that's just how they did it. Maybe to get you to buy the other set, but you can figure it out. It is possible. I haven't built the whole thing, but I started working on it, so I know you can do it. But this is another set here, and I'll eventually add more instructions to give you more to do with these, as well as adding more blocks, of course, at some point if people enjoy it and want to use it. But so yeah, that's pretty much the gist. Now besides building, I do have some other features here that you might want to know about. So save and load, that's pretty critical. I'm just going to show you that. You can only save, I started mentioning this, you can only save the blocks that are in this area here, the wood blocks and these two sets. These you can build with if you want, nothing's stopping you, but if you were to try and save and load, they're going to go back over here. They're not made to save. It's not what I designed it to do. There's a few reasons for that, but just basically be aware of it. Yeah, you probably don't want to build with those if you're going to try and make anything cool, or if you do, just be aware that you're going to lose it. So yeah, F1 is save. And again, it's only going to save these blocks. You can see I've kind of thrown these two up here, got a couple here, they're scattered. I hit F1. Now there's no indication that anything was done, but it is. Now F9 will load, and it will load and keep your position in the world and set in the scene, but it will not keep the direction you're pointing. So if you happen to load it and you see nothing but white, well, that's because you need to turn around. But anyway, you can see I loaded it. It's loaded up my position. Those blocks are still where I put them. You don't want to throw them off the edge of the world, which is possible. There is a limit here. And then save, because you won't be able to get them back without restarting with the home key. So yeah, home's going to reset it. F1 will save it. So if you do want to reset it and save it again in the initial position, just hit F1 after you reset. F9 to load. Now F12 is another key that you have. It is just to turn off a couple visual effects that are in the scene. It might help it run faster for you, and maybe you even like the look of it better. It's up to you. I kind of like these sun rays. There's a bit of a bloom effect going on. It sort of makes the blocks a little brighter. I like that, but if you don't like it, or if you want to get a little bit better performance, go ahead and toggle that with F12. Also, I have music. There's not a lot of tracks, only I think 5. But you toggle that on and off with the M key for music. And at the top you'll see who made that. This is freely available music. I've credited the people that made it, so as they requested by the license that they provided with. But so yeah, there's 5 tracks I think, and they'll play randomly if you turn it on. If you turn it off and on, you might get a different one, or you get the same one depending. So you can find one that you like, and if you want to get that one again, you might just have to keep turning it off and on to get it. You can control the volume with plus and minus. So I'll turn it up, you probably can't hear me anymore, or I'll turn it back down all the way. But if you do want it off, you probably want to hit M. And last but not least, the background. So I've got just a plain white background here. It'll always reset to that, but you can get bored with that. It does look kind of nice. The blocks really are sharp looking against that white background, but if you want something different, I've got 2 keys to do that. The semicolon key is going to toggle sky. See, yeah, that's one of them. There's like probably 6 or 8 of those. Maybe not that many, but yeah, here's the white one again. So yeah, it just gives you some different looks. You get bored after a while looking at the same thing. And then the key next to that, the single quote. Hit that a few times. You're going to toggle through the different floor options. Again, there's not a ton of those, but you'll notice some of these have a grid on them. This is actually matched up to the size of a single block here, a 1x1 block. And if you're building, that can be kind of handy because you might want to get it perfectly lined up, especially for judging gaps. Like if you're looking at these instructions, you'll notice that there might be a 1 block gap over here. Well, you want to get that block placed in the right distance relative to it without needing another block in between it. This will help you do that. Again, you know, and then after if you're done with that and you don't like the grid anymore, just pick another one. Doesn't have it. I've got grass texture. It looks kind of nice. Sort of a wood texture. These are more like a Minecraft kind of look if you like that. But anyway, that's pretty much all the features I went over. You got your block controls. There's one other. And this is pretty crucial. So yeah, if you're building up at that height, you can do it from the ground, but if you're really wanting to be accurate, you probably want to be up higher, and to do that you have the number keys. I have them set up so that each number is a height corresponding to the number. So 1 is just a little above the ground, 2, 3, 4 on up to 9. That's as tall as you probably want to build anything. I'd be impressed if you build anything taller than that, but so that's it. And then if you want to go back to being down on the ground level, just hit the tilde key all the way to the left. So that's pretty much it. Basically that's it. I just wanted to show this off. Like I say, it'll be a downloadable link for Mac and PC in the comment or in the description. I do encourage you to check this out, and I think you'll like it. If you like Minecraft or any kind of just building, if you like Legos or anything like that, this is kind of like that. Eventually, I'll definitely be adding in a lot more blocks, not just of this type, but more wood blocks, enough to really build something pretty neat with. More sets of the anchor blocks. I've got ideas for a lot of older different types of blocks that I've liked growing up, like Lincoln Logs, and I don't know if I'd do something like Tinker Toys, but maybe even actually Lego and that kind of block. Hard to say. There's a lot of possibilities to this. It's pretty cool. I like it. Hope you do. And again, thanks for checking this out. You can also look at my blog, which is going to have more details. The link for that should be in there. That'll have a lot of updates as I continue to work on it. And if I do get some more features, eventually I'll provide another updated version. So yeah, thanks again for checking this out. Feel free to comment, at my blog or here on the YouTube. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Blockitect. Oh, and the blog URL is just blockitect.blogspot.com. Yep. Thanks.